Tonight, a power push to the Premier. Jay Weatherill supportive of the solar thermal plan. And Port Pirie locals to cop a rate rise, but not as large as first thought.
This is Southern Cross News with Tim Hatfield.
Good evening, but first tonight a Port Lincoln boy has suffered a serious injury to his neck after he rode his bike into a rope that had been strung across a path at Centenary Oval. His mother said the prank could have been deadly and she's now desperate to find whoever's responsible.
A sickening prank that could have ended in tragedy. The painful red welt now wraps around young Stuart Heath's neck, a sign of how close things came to disaster.
The rope could have really got caught. And it could have led to something a lot worse.
I'm dying.
The 9-year-old was riding his bike around Port Lincoln Centenary Oval when he was coat-lined by a rope that was tied around the Oval's fence, throwing him from his bike.
He thought that, he couldn't breathe at the time. It might have not been for a long time, but it was something that really shook him.
Stuart was then rushed to hospital, suffering from minor injuries. His mother is convinced the prank was deliberately staged by nearby kids.
He happened to see 3 kids around his age go running towards the box, saying, "Oh, ride faster, ride faster."
The kids then fled, leaving Stuart in agony, eventually seeking help from his family. The mother says the children responsible need to be caught to prevent future incidents.
They're just going to continue on and do it, and it could end up being something quite serious.
Southern Cross News contacted Port Lincoln Police today, confirming Mrs Price has reported the incident. They are now investigating the matter. Jason Kemp, Southern Cross News.
Whyallers Steelworks will be at the top of the Premier Jay Weatherill's agenda when he attends this week's COAG Summit. Mr Weatherill has told The Advertiser he'll make the case for a partnership between the Commonwealth and the state. The steelworks is over 50 years old and its ageing infrastructure has been identified as a key concern going forward. The state government has committed $50 million to help upgrade the plant and has written to both major parties asking for a Commonwealth grant of $100 million prior to last year's federal election. Mr Weatherill says they cannot be left holding the baby on Whyallers' future, and it's critical the steel industry is strengthened. 2 bids for Arium's Australian operations were received last week, with a new owner to be announced later this month. Campaigners from Repower Port Augusta have visited the Premier in a bid to secure the state government's support of solar thermal. The group presented a petition of over 7,000 signatures, and they say the meeting was productive.
A meeting 5 years in the making. Repower Port Augusta met with the Premier to discuss the need for the state government to support a solar thermal power station.
It was productive. The Premier was he acknowledged the tenacity and appropriateness of the campaign and that it was effective in raising sort of awareness and support for the project, so that was sort of good to hear.
The group coming away happy with the meeting's result.
The Premier's keen to get to the end of that process, but the appropriate protocols have to be followed, so that decision is expected in the coming months, and not as early as the end of June, it seems, but not too long after that, we certainly hope.
The Premier was presented with over 7,000 signatures, and the campaigners say Mr Weatherill openly showed his support.
He'll be waiting for the recommendations of their tender, but that he personally wants to see it happen, which he said publicly before, so I think that's a really positive sign.
After an extensive campaign, it seems Repower Port Augusta's meeting with the Premier was a positive step forward. The campaign group asked if there was anything further they could do, but the Premier said with such widespread public support, they'd done plenty.
I think it's pretty clear that people's voices are being heard, so yeah, that's a real positive on our end.
Amelia Simpson, Southern Cross News.
It's looking like another year of low council rates in Port Pirie, despite other regions seeing a spike in their council expenses. Locals, for the most part, welcoming the 4.3% increase.
Council says the low rate will meet the future needs of residents and boost tourism within Port Pirie.
The current budget has a good balance between ensuring our rates maintain some of the lowest in the state as well as providing for a small increase to actually get on and complete the job that we're doing in transforming Port Pirie into a nice, attractive residential base.
Council is aiming to make Port Pirie a desirable place that people are willing to invest in.
We're looking at a budget that really strengthens Port Pirie and builds on what we're currently doing and to provide for the future of the city.
And it's predicted the low rates will contribute to the development of new major projects.
We look at providing new services and facilities that people actually want to see in this city and provide opportunities for not only ourselves but also our kids and our grandkids.
Locals now hoping to see popular visitor hubs maintained as well as new developments.
I expect Council to provide good services like the sporting hub, also to keep supporting the library to the extent that it does, and also the art gallery.
Council says the increase has not been caused by the development of the sports hub or the CBD upgrade, and it has also promised to improve day-to-day services to meet residents' needs. Locals are being urged to have their say. They can do so on the council website. Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
Whyalla Aged Care will spend over $7 million on a new dementia and respite care unit at its Copperhouse Court complex. The federal government will help fund the upgrade, with Rowan Ramsey saying it's crucial that patients stay in their local communities.
The need for dementia care is increasing, with 1 million Australians predicted to be living with the disease by the middle of the century. Whyalla is not immune, with Whyalla Aged Care to upgrade its Copperhouse Court complex to cater for the demand.
So it was really important for us that older people are able to stay in their community and have the support of their families, even though they need specialised dementia care.
13 beds for dementia patients and 1 respite care bed will be created. The expansion will feature larger rooms and a new kitchen and laundry, along with features to help make patients comfortable. Ms Walker says respite care is especially critical, as it allows carers to rest from their demanding roles.
Someone that's receiving aged care services in the community will still need to come in for respite care so their family can actually have a break. So it's short-term respite.
Local MP Rowan Ramsey has welcomed the move, saying dementia patients in the community will be well served. He says it's important those entering the final stages of their life have the best access to local care.
And doing the very, very best we can for people that their life has really deteriorated in a big way, and trying to get into that space and make it as best as we possibly can.
John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
A Broken Hill man has been charged with drink driving after testing positive to a random breath test over the weekend. The 55-year-old man was pulled over on Saturday at midnight and blew 2 times the legal limit. He was charged with drink driving in the Middle Range and will now appear in the Broken Hill local court. Well, stay with us. Still to come in tonight's local news, SafeWork issues warnings over poor roofing practices in the Silver City. The details ahead. Welcome back. Roofing companies operating in Broken Hill have been issued improvement and prohibition warnings following recent site inspections. SafeWork New South Wales says the warnings come after a number of complaints. Patrick Reinke has the details.
There are many roofing companies currently operating in the Silver City following last year's torrential hailstorm. The damage caused by the 10-minute downpour of hail means most companies will be working around town for the next 3 years. It hasn't been smooth sailing though, with recent site inspections being carried out by SafeWork New South Wales. Their visit was due to a number of complaints regarding falls from heights, workplace protection and working near power lines. In a statement to Southern Cross News, SafeWork New South Wales says there were 8 improvement and 12 prohibition notices handed out as a result of the inspections. Inspectors will soon conduct follow-up visits to make sure the companies are doing the right thing. An improvement notice is given when there is a safety issue that needs to be fixed. The worksite can continue operating while the notice is being actioned. A prohibition notice is more serious and is handed out when work involves a more serious risk to health or safety. This usually results in work stopping until the problem is taken care of. SafeWork New South Wales says follow-up visits are usually scheduled 1 month after the initial inspections.
Patrick Reinke reporting there. Port Lincoln police have arrested a man after a break-in at a Port Lincoln hotel on Thursday night last week. The 28-year-old entered a bar on Tasman Terrace and reportedly stole a significant amount of cash. Police were able to identify the man through CCTV footage, arresting him a short time later. The man from Ceduna was charged with theft and serious criminal trespass and was refused bail. He'll appear in the Port Lincoln Magistrates Court at a later date. Well, kids with dyslexia in the regions could receive further help as part of the opposition's literacy guarantee heading into next year's state election. While the Education Minister says enough is already being done, the Liberal member for Stewart says he wants to see more help for children with learning difficulties.
Stephen Marshall says the state's education system is underperforming, with the Liberals now calling for more help for kids with dyslexia in the regions.
Then we, as a Liberal opposition, have taken advice, very broad advice from families, from children and, importantly, from professionals in this area to put together this package.
If elected, the opposition says they deliver a $9 million literacy guarantee. Part of this funding, workshops for parents of kids with dyslexia in Port Augusta.
I was approached by a private group of people made up of professionals and family members who are tearing their hair out because they're not getting the support they needed.
But the Minister for Education, Susan Close, says programs like this already exist and the Libs are just trying to claim this focus on literacy as their own.
We work very hard on parental engagement, and we do have a special focus on children with learning difficulties who need extra intervention. We do professional development with teachers so that they're able to better target the kind of teaching and intervention that they do.
Mr Van Holst Pelican says there is a need, and from his time as Shadow Correctional Services Minister, he's seen those who fail in school often fail the law.
And there's an extraordinarily high number of people in our prison systems with dyslexia.
Amelia Simpson, Southern Cross News.
Broken Hill's first home buyers are set to reap the benefits of new stamp duty concessions. Stamp duty for first home buyers has been abolished, and local realtors say it'll have a very positive impact on the local market.
Buying your first home just got easier.
That will obviously stimulate our local market and hopefully encourage first home buyers to either purchase a property now rather than later because it means that they've got more savings, or perhaps purchase something a little bit higher in price because they can now afford that.
Without stamp duty, buying your first home at a cost of $200,000 means you'll save $5,500.
The package allows for no stamp duty up to a purchase of $650,000. So for Broken Hill terms, obviously that's our entire market.
And there's even more good news if you're a first home buyer. Stamp duty on lenders' mortgage insurance has also been abolished. Lenders' insurance is often required by banks to lend to first home buyers with limited deposits.
They've actually abolished the stamp duty, which is applicable to the mortgage lenders' insurance, so that will save you a couple of $1,000s as well. So that's really, really encouraging.
The Broken Hill real estate market has been operating consistently well over the past year. On average, 25 to 30 houses are being sold every month at a wide variety of prices.
Our values range anywhere from $30,000, $40,000 right up to sort of $550,000, $600,000. So when you're talking average house price in Broken Hill, I think it works out to be about $110,000. But realistically, there's quite a large range of prices, and they're all performing quite well at the moment.
Patrick Reinke, Southern Cross News.
Well, stay with us. When we return after the break, the big tourism strategy pushing to double visitors to the EP. The details next. Welcome back. Regional Development on the Eyre Peninsula is putting together $1 million tourism strategy to boost the region's holiday economy. The project aims to rapidly increase the growth of tourism over the next 5 years, including destination marketing for shark cage diving in Port Lincoln.
It's Australia's seafood frontier and the gateway to the outdoors, and that's why people travel from around the world to visit the Eyre Peninsula.
I read about it in Lonely Planet, seen it or heard it from friends, and they just said this is the place to go.
The EP's tourism industry is worth more than $260 million annually, with guests making the journey from far and wide to soak up the experience. But regional development is now planning to further promote the area's natural attractions in hopes of doubling the tourism economy. The $1 million strategy aims to boost the overnight market, which last year saw over 250,000 visitors. One of those thriving tour markets is Port Lincoln shark cage diving. Calypso Star Charters supporting the move to shine the spotlight on more attractions.
It's important to recognise that there's lots of other things, within the region to come and see. Unfortunately, all too many of our guests just fly in and fly out. I guess the trick is to get people to stay a bit longer and have a look around.
The tours operate all year round, even during the chill of winter. But as I found out over the weekend, even in the cold ocean, the blood gets pumping when you get close to a great white. Port Lincoln is one of only 5 places on the planet where you can swim with great white sharks, making it a mecca for adventure tourism. The close encounter receiving enormous praise.
I had an idea of what it was going to be like, but it was so much better than what I thought it was going to be. It was unbelievable.
The RDA is now working with councils so travellers discover the region's potential.
We've got recognition right across Australia and across the world.
Jason Kemp, Southern Cross News.
A Whyalla resident has had a remarkable encounter with a humpback whale over the weekend. This video taken shows the whale frolicking off the coast of Point Lowly. The animal was enjoying the winter sun, diving in and out of the water, creating quite a spectacle. The event is remarkable as it's unusual for whales to be so far up the Spencer Gulf. Well, turning to the footy now, Marina Bay have continued their strong start to the Whyalla Football League season with a close win over Rapina. The Bays were down at half-time but scored 5 goals to go 1 up in the second half to move into the top 4. John Hunt joins us now. And John, this is a pretty remarkable turnaround by the Tigers.
It's unbelievable, Tim. Marina Bay have been the whipping boys of the league since 2015, with just 2 wins in the last 2 years. Sunday's win over Rapina sees them consolidate their position in the top 4, with the club now a realistic chance of playing finals footy. A 6-goal-to-1 second term saw the Roos lead by 3 goals at the main change, and they look set to go on with the job. The Tigers, however, would not be denied, fighting back after half-time to overpower Rapina. Cade Gale-Jones was a star up forward, bagging 6 goals to lead the Tigers to a tight win. The 8-point win is a big one for the Bays, with the club now 2 games clear in 4th place. 2016 finalists South Whyalla, on the other hand, are enduring a nightmare season. Centrals defeated them by 2 points to keep the Demons at the foot of the table. And Westies have extended their winning streak to 23, with a 27-point win over North Whyalla. Changing leagues now, and in Spencer Gulf footy, West moved 2 games clear in 2nd place after defeating South by 10 points. Prop Brisbane had a comfortable win over Port, while ladder leaders Sollies embarrassed last place Central Augusta, keeping them to just 7 behinds in a 20-goal win. In Port Lincoln footy, Tasman had an upset win over Lincoln South. Mallee Park had an 89-78 win over Wayback, while Boston are still winless after a 90-point thrashing at the hands of Marble Range. Just the 1 match in Broken Hill this week, with West getting their first win of the season, defeating Central by 19 points in a low-scoring affair. In Northern Areas footy, Justin Tiller kicked 4 to help Broughton Mandurah to a big win over BMW. Southern Flinders beat Orroroo, and Daniel Hill kicked 10 for Crystal Brook, who broke the magical 200-point barrier in their 182-point win over Jamestown Peterborough. And on the York Peninsula, it was a miserable weekend for YP Crows fans all round, with Central York pipping CMS by 5 points. Moontville smashed Drossen. Parksville overcame Butte, while the Southern Eagles edged Wallaroo. That's all the footy there is this week. No club games next weekend, with Whyalla taking on Spencer Gulf and the Mortlock Shield in Port Lincoln. We'll have a comprehensive preview of both events later this week. But for now, it's back to you, Tim.
Good stuff. Thank you, John. Well, stay with us after the break. A look at the local weather for the week ahead. Welcome back. Turning to the weather now, mainly fine this Monday with 19 for Port Augusta and 18 in Whyalla, Port Pirie on 17, a few showers and 19 around Port Lincoln and a sunny 16 in Broken Hill. On the national satellite image, clear conditions continue across the region as a high pushes in from the Bight. Out on the waters, the winds to 15 knots and southerly, seas below a metre to the south. The sunrise tomorrow is at 18 minutes past 7. So looking at tomorrow, it's looking fine for most parts, 18 in Port Augusta and 17 for Whyalla and Port Pirie. Perry. Port Lincoln could see a shower on 18 and a fine 15 in Broken Hill. And now looking ahead, we have a fine week in store. 18 for Port Lincoln on Wednesday, then 19 for Thursday, 17 and 18 in Cleve, and 19 both days in Woodner. Whyalla with sunny skies and 17 to run out the week, much the same in Port Augusta with 19 for Thursday, Kadina also with 17 to run out the week. Port Pirie with a sunny 16 for Wednesday and Thursday, a cool 14 both days in Clare, and 15 degrees over in the Silver City with fairly fine and sunny conditions. And that is the local news for this Monday evening. Hope you had a great weekend. Don't forget, as always, you can stay up to date with us on Facebook and on Twitter, and you can also drop us an email and catch past bulletins on our YouTube channel. We'll see you back here tomorrow night from 6:30. I'm Tim Hatfield from the team here at Southern Cross News. Have a good evening. Good night.